Cystic fibrosis is an inherited condition that causes mucus to build up in the lungs and digestive system. This results in lung infections and problems with food digestion. In the United States, approximately 1,000 new cases are diagnosed each year. More than 75% of people with cystic fibrosis are diagnosed by the age of 2. People with cystic fibrosis can have a variety of symptoms, including very salty tasting skin, persistent coughing, at times with phlegm, frequent lung infections including pneumonia or bronchitis, wheezing or shortness of breath, poor growth or weight gain in spite of a good appetite, nasal polyps, chronic sinus infections, clubbing or enlargement of the fingertips and toes, and rectal prolapse. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease. People with this disease have inherited one copy of the defective gene from each parent. If the parents are carriers, there's a 25% chance that the child will have this disease, 50% chance that the child is a carrier, and 25% chance that the child will not be a carrier. So what is meant by a defective cystic fibrosis gene? It is a single gene that contains a mutation. Diagnosis is not always accurate because there are over 1,700 known mutations, and most genetic tests can only identify the most common ones. CFTR gene. This is the cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator. The first type of mutations are protein production mutations. There are two types. In case of nonsense mutation, the protein building instructions in a cell contain an early stop codon, which means that the cell stops building its amino acid chain too early, and as a result, no CFTR protein is produced. The second case is splice mutation. This occurs when the cell is unable to identify where to begin reading mRNA instructions, and the cell accidentally removes relevant nucleotides or leaves in irrelevant ones. The second type of mutation is protein processing mutation. The most common CF mutation is called F508del. This mutation removes a single amino acid from the CFTR protein, and thus the 3D shape of the protein is disrupted. The CFTR protein is shaped like a channel with a gate. The cell uses this gate to let chloride ions flow through the channel. The third type of mutation, which is gating mutation, locks the gate so that chlorine cannot pass through the protein. Conduction mutations change the shape of the CFTR channel so that chloride cannot easily move through. The last identified mutation is called insufficient protein mutation. This occurs when there is an insufficient amount of normal CFTR proteins at a cell's surface. Either a limited amount of CFTR is produced or the protein integrates too quickly at the cell surface. So diagnosing cystic fibrosis can be in different ways, which of those include newborn screening, sweat test, genetic or carrier test, and clinical evaluation at CF Foundation Accredited Care Center. The types of CF symptoms and how severe they are can differ widely from person to person. Each day, people with CF complete a combination of the following therapies. Airway clearance. This helps to loosen and get rid of the thick mucus that can build up in lungs. Antibiotics to fight lung infections and therapies to help keep the airways clear. Pancreatic enzyme supplement capsules to improve the absorption of vital nutrients. Inhaled medicines. This helps to open the airways or thin the mucus. An individualized fitness plan. This helps to improve energy, lung function, and overall health. And last but not least, CFTR modulators to target the underlying defect of the CFTR protein.